Hi, Watanuki. Oh, do you want to be? Oh, there we go. You can just sit here. Hello, everyone. This is Liz, Derry Public Library's resident movie nerd, and one of the reference librarians at the reference desk. And welcome to another rainy Thursday. I have noticed that recently Thursday seems to be the day that gets a lot of rain. Also joining me for a moment is Watanuki. Say hi, Watanuki. They're getting as sick of me being here as I am sick of being in the house. So today is a Hulu Picks day, and we have a good mix of shows and movies. So the first two things I'm going to recommend are shows. For the sake of binging, we're all looking for things to watch. The first is going to be Little Fires Everywhere. This was by Celeste Ng. I hope I'm saying her last name right. And this was a book that was everywhere a few years ago, and Reese Witherspoon produced the adaptation, so obviously it has a lot of interest. So if you liked the book and you'd like to see a limited adaptation, this has all of the melodrama you'd want in a show. And if you're someone like me who every now and then can take a little bit of soap opera melodrama, it's right up your alley. The other one I'm going to recommend is more of a docu-series called Style Evolution. It's been well documented on here, my affinity for drag queens and drag culture. And this is a show where it's mainly about drag style, but it also talks about overall how styles have changed in terms of both how men and women present themselves, how different colors have changed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have learned that pink used to be a more masculine color than feminine. And it's actually, if you're interested in the general history of style, a really interesting show. It's through a performative lens, but I actually do find fashion history to be a little bit interesting. I get that from my mom. So I kind of found this show to have a lot more than I initially thought it would. So on to the movies. The first I'm going to recommend is Bumblebee. Full disclosure, I absolutely hate the Michael Bay Transformers movies. As far as I'm concerned, the only good one is the animated one in the 80s, and that's because it has Stan Bush's You Got the Touch. But Bumblebee really charmed me, and probably because it doesn't have a lot of the Michael Bay-ness to it. It's a lot more focused on fun. You have Haley Steinfeld, who I think is a very gifted young actress. You also have John Cena, who it shouldn't be a shock that he's a good performer because he's a wrestler and wrestling is all about performing, but he has a natural screen presence as well. And this is a lot more, I would say, kind of kid and family friendly than the other Transformers movies. So despite my initial hesitation, the movie won me over. The other one, our next recommendation, sorry, this is Wada's Tale, by the way, if you're wondering what this is a great little movie called Support the Girls. This came out about 2 years ago, and it's a pretty simple movie. It is about a woman who runs a restaurant in just a day in her life, and it turns out to be a very active day with a lot of stuff going on. It's a small movie. It's a pretty simple drama. There's not a lot, even the drama isn't extremely explosive, but I think it's a great little character piece. And I just like watching movies where there's women just kind of supporting each other. I think it's a great little movie to watch. It's a good 90 minutes. Again, if you want just a nice sort of comedy drama, Support the Girls is for you. The next one is a movie very close to my heart, and not just because it's an 80s movie, but it's one of the first movies I saw when I was a teen that featured Jeff Goldblum, and I already kind of had a crush on him from Jurassic Park, like a lot of people did. This is Earth Girls Are Easy. So if you do not know about this movie, it's three aliens. It's one of them, Jeff Goldblum. The other two, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's Damon Wayans and Jim Carrey, come to Earth. They're looking for girlfriends, and they find them mainly in Gina Davis. It is probably, if I took my nostalgia goggles off, which I won't, stupid movie, but it has a lot of charm. It's very colorful. It has musical numbers, and it is a much more heartwarming and less gross romantic pairing of Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis than their other 80s pairing, which is the remake of David Cronenberg's The Fly. Also a great movie, but this Earth Girls Are Easy, way easier on the stomach. but it's endlessly charming. It's very silly. But again, it's been one of my favorite movies since I was a teenager. I can't help it. I just love it. If you're looking for something a bit more kid friendly, the Lego Movie 2 is on Hulu. I think this is probably for a limited time because HBO is giving free access right now. I loved the original Lego Movie, completely taken by surprise by how clever it was. I don't think the Lego Movie 2 reached the same heights as the first one, but I still found it to be really watchable, really fun. Still has songs that get stuck inside my head. And it won't really give too much away, but there's a sight of Lego Raptors just doing human things, which when I saw it in theaters, I nearly fell out of my seat laughing. I don't know why. The idea of dinosaurs acting like humans is endlessly funny to me. And the last pick is definitely, I think it's a classic, but it's one that people don't talk about, kind of like Terms of Endearment, where it's got its place in film history, but I feel like young film brats don't know about it. So if you're older, you probably know about this movie, but if you're not, once upon a time, Michael Douglas was kind of like an action star and one of the biggest stars on the planet. And Kathleen Turner was one of the hottest young actresses on the planet. And she still is just an amazing actress. I love Kathleen Turner so much. And they started a movie in 1984 called Romancing the Stone. If you want Raiders of the Lost Ark with a little bit more romance and a little bit more sort of a 1940s His Girl Friday sniping back and forth, oh my gosh, Romancing the Stone is for you. This movie is a movie that has everything: action, adventure, humor, two stars that know how to both hold the spotlight but not compete for it. They work so well together. There was a sequel to it. It's not as good, but if you want just a 4-star movie, Romancing the Stone is absolutely fantastic. And I can't recommend it enough. And I'm glad it's on one of these services because more people should discover it. Also, personal note, I am really hoping that this whole COVID-19 thing clears up because I have tickets to Camp John Waters. Kathleen Turner is going to be there, and I want her to sign my copy of Serial Mom. So I am crossing all of my fingers that I can go see her in September. Like, my love for Kathleen Turner is deep. So those are my new picks of the day. I would like to just reiterate that I think 4 of the best movies you can find on the internet right now are on Hulu. The first is Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People. I think this movie is absolutely wonderful. I would say good for probably I would say 8 to 10 and up, but super heartwarming movie. Sam Neill is in it. The little kid, Ricky Baker, is wonderful, and it will just warm your heart. The other, I will say, is The Day Shall Come, an incredibly smart political comedy. It's from the director and writer of Four Lions. If you haven't seen it, watch it. The other I will say is Parasite, this year's Best Picture winner. Hey everyone, it's on Hulu if you haven't watched it yet, and the library currently isn't circling stuff yet, so this is your chance to see it. And the other I will say is the French film Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This movie is absolutely wonderful. So I know I've recommended those 4 before, but I need to reiterate, if you want to see 4 of the best movies on the internet right now, Hulu has these 4. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll check one of these out, and I will see you tomorrow for Freebie Friday.